Hello there. Welcome to Family and Society Talk Show. It is a pleasure to be here once again. For those of our viewers that are joining us for the first time, let's not forget that this show is an initiative of Pure Heart Family Development Foundation. I am not by myself today. Raymond is here with me. Hello, Raymond.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
So how is the weather? How is all that has been happening? The fuel, a hike increase, and everything. How has it been treating you?
We thank God. God has been faithful. We've been
Right.
surviving through the period, so we are grateful to God.
It's been challenging,
It
indeed.
it has actually.
But definitely we move.
Yes, we move. The show must go on.
You know. Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
All right,
welcome.
today we are discussing due to all that has been going on. We know in Nigeria a lot has been happening. A lot has happened ever since the hike of the increase in fuel and petroleum products in the country. There's been a lot of pain. People have been undergoing some kind of pain. It's been difficult. There's hike of everything, food, commodities, everything is on the increase. And as we speak, where the nation is about to go on a protest today, right? Raymond
It seems so.
thereabout.
Yeah.
And for this reason, poverty is on the increase,
Right,
and
yes.
people can hardly take transportation to their places of
Yes,
work
yes.
and
Lots of
businesses.
trekking.
Businesses are actually grounded, and so much is happening, so much is going on, and there's poverty in the land, there's hunger in the land, and this also has given increase to people want this Japa syndrome. People want
Yes.
to relocate, leave the country, to go out there to look for greener pastures. Would you blame them? I wouldn't blame them actually,
Of course.
but what we teach or we preach is that for those that intend to do that, they should go through it the right and appropriate,
Legal means.
yes, the legal ways, and let them not go through the back door and by endangering their lives and falling prey and falling victim to people. Our topic of discussion today is human trafficking. Yes, for all of this that I have mentioned, there's a lot of people are falling a lot of victim to human traffickers. They are out there, and the level of poverty also. Even there at this point, there are times when even parents are the ones that tell them, "Oh yeah, you have to go about to do this to be able to elevate us,
Yes.
to be able to take us away from
Family.
poverty
Yes.
and all of that." And some of them also, their parents are not even aware on their own. Imagine a scenario where parents already do not have, they cannot provide for their children, even teenage children, and they go out there to hustle and sustain themselves, and they find eventually they decide that they need to do whatever it is they need to do, and they fall victim to this into the wrong hands of human traffickers and all that. So these are what we are going to be discussing today. We have with us in the studio a professional that is going to help join us in this discussion to dissect this topic today. We have with us this morning Dr. Godwin E. Morka. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, madam.
Dr. Morka is a retired director and director of research and programs. A retired director, research and program development, NAPTIP. NAPTIP is the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, and he's the lead consultant of Acrom Consulting Limited. Once again, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome,
It's
sir.
quite a mouthful.
Yes, also, it may please you to know that every 30th of July annually is the International Day for Human Trafficking. And since the beginning of the week, since Monday, there's been a lineup of programs actually on creating the awareness for people to get aware of this, all of these trafficking, human traffickers that are there, that are deceitful, that exercise all manner of threats and
Yes.
take away people's fundamental human rights, using all means to ensure that they enslave them into doing whatever it is, whatever they want them to do, and at the expense of their victims. So, sir, you are welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
So, when we say human trafficking, what our viewers would like to know exactly what human trafficking entails.
Well, if you want me to say in a few words, human trafficking is modern day slavery. and we know the phenomenon of slavery, where human beings are bought and sold. In this case, yes, there's still buying and selling, and but it involves movement as always. So, technically speaking, human trafficking is it's like, let me just explain the layman's word. It is propositioning is someone, what we call recruitment, recruitment of a prospective victim, using all kinds of methods, either by deception, sometimes by force, and all kinds of subterfuge, sometimes abuse of position of authority. Maybe somebody who is somebody's madam or somebody's stepmother and so on and so forth. They can use that position of authority or coercion or sometimes abduction in order to move somebody from one place to another. And then there's also the issue of harboring, giving the exchange of money, and then harboring and transportation of persons for the purpose of exploitation. In a short sentence, it is to take somebody from his normal place of abode, using all kinds of means to take the person to somewhere else in order to exploit that person. That is human trafficking.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much, sir. So you made mention of the word modern day slavery. We all know how slavery took place in the olden days. Oftentimes, these people were taken against their wish.
Right.
Now, what's the difference between the human trafficking, which you said, like you earlier said, is modern day slavery? How is it different from the olden days one? Or what are the forms it takes that people can be involved in that have been trafficked already without even knowing how? How different is it?
Yes. In the classic slavery of those days, it was either by conquest, by kidnapping or abduction, and then you are taken, just bundled away and sold.
Yeah.
Now, they use more subtle means, and that's where deception comes in. The proposition is put to the prospective victim, and you are told that if you go follow me to somewhere else, you are going to have a wonderful life.
Right.
For example, you are a doctor.
Yes.
Because why I'm using a doctor is that anybody can be trafficked. Sometimes we think that it's only uneducated people,
right.
very poor.
Yes.
You are a doctor, and somebody tells how much are you earning in Nigeria? See, I can take you to Philippines, and you'll be earning equivalent of $10,000 a month. And in your mind, you quickly calculate $10,000. Wow! So I'll be earning about 8 million naira or 7 to 8 million naira a month. So what am I doing here? He takes you away. So that is, he has deceived you because you don't know yet where you are going, and then he takes you out. And the next thing, you may find yourself in Burkina Faso.
Wow.
And it tells you we are still on our way, But in order to smooth our journey, you have to do some work.
Right.
And the only work available to you is to be a security man. And then you find yourself, the idea of movement is to make you lose control. I mean, in your normal and natural environment, you find your 2 feet on the ground. You know where you are, you know where you are going, you understand the culture. But when you are taken to a place that is strange, I mean, even if you travel normally, you travel to Europe or US, you find yourself in strange cities, you're actually out of sorts. I say you are guided.
Exactly.
And then you are not taken into a place where you don't even know what is going on. Maybe not even speak the same language. And then maybe if you travel out, they take your passport. So first of all, you have lost your identity. And then you now find that you are in a place where you are by force. If you don't do it,
at that point, you just have to do what they do.
You have no choice. You have to do their bit. And you earn your money, they collect it. They will just give you enough to eat. And you may be doing that for the next 2 years. And you have lost your life. You can't do anything except to find a way to escape, or somebody rescues you and brings you back. Wow. So deception plays a major role in trafficking. And they make promises that they know is impossible. I mean, people sometimes say they know they are going to be trafficked. No, nobody.
And because of desperation, people just accept.
Yeah, but nobody really knows the extent of what is going on. Because a classical example, a girl working as a prostitute is told, "What are you earning here? you can go and do prostitution in Europe
And earn more.
and earn at least 3,000 euros every day. And she calculated and said, how much do I get here? Even per night, maybe you get 5,000 naira if you're lucky. And compared to 3,000 euros. And it's guaranteed. You do 3,000 times 600 and say, wow. So I'm going to be earning, maybe looking at 1.8 million, 800, something like that. So,
changes the situation
and then
of
he
my
gets to Europe somehow, and then you now find that you have to work every day for the madam. Your papers are taken, you are given a new name. And whether it is, because first of all, the weather is different, it's cold,
Right.
most of the, especially in winter and all that.
Right.
And normally, even in summer, it's colder than Nigeria. And then you have to work every day to work for your madam. Whether you are in your period, whether anything, whatever happens, you have to work. And the money is taken.
Oh.
And then that, when you get there, now tells you that if you want to be free, you have to pay me 30,000 euros. And you, in your mind, you had calculated that if the person is taking me to Europe, it can't be more than 3,000 euros I'm owing the person.
Yes.
And if I'm going to earn 3,000 euros every day, I can pay off in 2 days and be free.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then you find yourself 2 years later, you are still
You're
paying.
still working for
Because any little thing, when we are taking for police protection, we are taking for your clothes, we are taking for hospital, we are taking for this, we are taking for this, and the money keeps increasing. If you do any small thing, they fine you. So at the end of it, you find that you have paid 60,000 euros and you are still not free.
Exactly, you're still not free.
You are
It's
still not
really
free. And you go
slavery.
through
Yes.
the most dehumanizing treatment.
Conditions.
Because you are standing on the road with maybe just your bomb shots or nothing.
In the
And the cold.
Yes.
And also you find our girls making fire by the roadside so that when they are not customers, they go and warm up.
themselves.
And then some men will come, sometimes they just take them into the bush, turn your back and all that. And those are some of these girls that are actually in their prime, usually between the ages of 18 to 30. I mean, we went to Mali in 2018 and 2019 to see our girls inside the bush of Mali. And you weep the kind of conditions they find. So human trafficking is the most insidious crime against humanity, really.
Okay, sir. I know that you've had a lot of experience over the years, and you just mentioned the scenario when you got to see some of them in Mali and all that. What effect does this have on the families involved? That maybe the parents, in our society generally, by the time we know we keep encountering people are so vulnerable. The fact remains that the youngsters, the youth, the age you just mentioned, between that age of 18 or 16
Yes.
to 30
It's
are very
really-
vulnerable.
Yes.
And also, like I had said, because of what is going on in the nation, in the country, it's harsh, it's hard. The economy is poor, it's bad. Poverty is on the increase. Being victims, falling prey and victim to human traffickers. And also you have said it that it doesn't necessarily have to be just, it's not only the ignorant
No.
that could be, be prey and victim.
Yes.
Even the educated can be. By the time this keep going, what are the effects it's having, the toll it's having on the society, on our society in general, and on the homes, on the families?
Let me say that human trafficking has multi-dimensional implications. You have the personal costs for the victim, for example. We have had victims that traveled, and by the time they are recovered, they are broken. Some of them are maimed. And let me say that, sometimes think only of Europe. There's a lot of trafficking to the Middle East nowadays, where mostly young women between 25 and 35, they have their small business, they have a salon, they have a boutique, or they're doing something. And somebody tells them, we'll take you to Saudi Arabia, take you to Lebanon, we'll take you to Dubai, we'll take you to Egypt, and you are going to do housework. And you'll be getting 500 euros or dollars a month. And of course, that's a lot of money.
Right.
And then they sell off their small business, leave their husbands and with their children, and travel. And then they get there, they find that they're working 18 to 20 hours a day. And then when they finish working, they're also sexually abused by the men in the house, even when the women know. Because in the Middle East, victims of trafficking, or even let me say house helps, are treated as slaves. They call them my slave. When
Wow.
they come to pick them, they say, I've come to pick my slave. And when you are a slave to somebody, the person has every right over you. There is very little protection for them in most of countries in the Middle East. If you remember the story of Onesimus in the Bible, when Paul had to write and say, please, this man is this your slave? You could have killed him. That's the same attitude. Your slave, you have every right to do whatever you like with your slave, and that's the way they treat our guests who go there. The men can rape them, uncle will come and rape. When they finish working and cleaning a very big house, high-rise building, you take them to another one. So they are working all through.
Round the clock.
Round the clock. So you find out that it becomes domestic servitude. It's no longer, they are not doing service. It becomes servitude. And then sexually exploited. So
Right.
them, in a bid to run away, they jump from about 3 or 4
Some of them
stories, some of them
get
get maimed. When you get injured, they will roll you and bring you to the front of Nigerian embassy and abandon you there. So there is psychological trauma. There is also injuries, and then you have infections. We've had girls who were infected with all kinds of things. There was one story. We were going through Libya, and this girl, we were rescued, and we got their register. Each girl was sleeping with about 20 to 30 men a day.
Wow.
And they registered all the money, and they had the full register they brought back. And they said, yes, that's what they do. If you don't do it, they'll beat you. And then they said, even if whether you are in your period or anything, they don't care. And their own contraceptive was to soak foam from like a mattress. They cut it big, soak it inside this solution of Izal, solution of Izal, put it, squeeze it, and then push it inside. That is both contraceptive and also kind of preventing disease and all that. So I guess go through. So the trauma is there. Physical injuries are there. Deprivation of liberty and sometimes death. And when you die, nobody cares because you didn't enter the country legally. So your name, you are not known.
Right.
So if people die, they throw them away, they cut them. So sometimes they even use for experiments, and nobody knows, nobody can account for them.
Yes.
That's one. Then to the family, these are people who are sometimes breadwinners to the family, and suddenly hoping that even when the parents say, oh, this guy should go, they're hoping that the girl will come and
back.
bring something. And then you find that sometimes traffickers in those days will be sending the parents $50.
Yes.
They will think that their children are alive, but their children are long dead. So you have that deprivation, and then of course the loss. And then so society, of course, when I usually describe the phenomenon of trafficking as a slow bleeding of a nation, because you are removing people who are the life force of a nation.
Exactly.
Young people who, where their energies are supposed to rebuild our nation. And I say to them, in Mali, for example, went to Mali, they told that there were at least about 150,000 girls in Mali. We tried to moderate it when we went and said 20,000. Even 20,000 was high. And I said,
Very high.
That's Nigerians.
Yeah.
but there were more than that, a lot more. In fact, we were telling us that you had underestimated. You said,
Right.
we didn't want to cause too much alarm. I said, those 20,000 girls, if they were in Nigeria and all they do every day is one person will just roast one plantain and sell.
Yeah.
Just one,
Yeah.
not more. Just each of them one. 20,000 plantains is so one. Just, you know how much it will bring to our economy
That's
over
right.
time.
That's right.
And then talk about multiply that so many times. People are trafficked to many other countries all over the world. The same vital life force. So it's like you're bleeding slowly from your leg.
Yes.
If you don't stand it, you will bleed to death. And
Yes.
that's the impact on Nigeria.
Okay.
And it is terrible.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
This
And then of course you have people coming in with diseases. I mean, we quarantine plants and animals when they are coming, but you now have our girls go out and come back with diseases that are like time bombs. We have people going to, like in northern Mali, go to the Tuareg rebels. They will ship them to those people. After 3 months, they are radicalized. When they come back, there was a girl that came back from Libya, and within 2 weeks, she was caught among with robbers in Benin. They could become radicalized and do all kinds of things. So there is a danger to social and actually national security in trafficking. And of course, trafficking fuels other crimes.
Right.
Fuels money laundering, drugs,
Yes,
and
it's
all
drugs
that.
especially.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, at this point, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we shall be talking about government intervention, how far governments have been able to intervene in this whole trafficking issue. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and thanks for being there. Thanks for staying tuned. Okay, sir. At this point, I would like us to throw a little bit of light on the causes of human trafficking. Then, before we go to the next, which is government intervention so far.
Thank you very much. Sometimes people say poverty is a cause of poverty for trafficking, and we who are in that sector believe that poverty is a reason but not a cause for trafficking, because many people respond to poverty in different ways. You can have a woman who decides that, oh, I'm poor, and then stripes her baby on her back and goes to the market, keeps carrying load for people, do odd jobs, and is able to raise children
and survive
or sell something by the roadside. Some others say, I'm not ready for that. Go and rent a room and do prostitution. So sometimes it's a choice.
It's a choice.
The way you respond to this thing, to poverty. So poverty is pervading, like you said. There's hardship all over the place, and the question is, what impact does this have? Unfortunately for us as a country, the notion that the grass is greener outside has become pervasive over the number of years now. And so you have a lot of our young people living because they want better life. They think life is better out there. Even though some of them, when they get there, they see all kinds of terrible things. So I would say the economy of Nigeria is a major push. We call what you call them push factors. The push factors, you have issue of the economy, lack of employment opportunities. Then sometimes you have some places they have crisis. Sometimes cultural issues and all that push people away. And then this lack of parental care.
Yeah.
The breakdown of family values is also another thing. In those days, like you just mentioned your surname, and I remember. So you have a family need to protect.
Absolutely.
But nowadays nobody bothers. If you like, destroy the name. But in those days we used to have soul values, and the societal values we have lost all that. All these are things that are causing people to want to live, and there's no
focus
family.
on material
And then
things.
you now have the pull factors. When we watch Western TV, all we see are beautiful houses, beautiful roads, everything
Flashy
working fair. There's nothing like a light out.
Yeah.
Everything is going fine.
Yes.
And so there's a pull thinking that
Desire
life
that
is
life
better
for
out
ourselves.
there. Life is better out there. So those are some of the things that I say. And then of course, there's a demand for cheap labor. Most of Europe, their populations are aging. So you find that they want people who are going to do certain kinds of work that they don't have people doing them. And so subtly they allow people to come in. But when after a while you say they push people back because they're not going to recognize, even though you are contributing a lot to their economy.
Yeah.
I was in Germany 2019 or thereabouts, and they said we have 36,000 Nigerians eligible to be removed immediately.
Wow.
They are part of the asylum system. They are no longer, and some of them, their papers have expired. And I said to them, how are you going to bring them back? If you charter jumbo jets, you are going to be doing at least 250 trips. How many trips a day? So for the next 6 months, we are going to be bringing them.
Yes.
I said, so at what cost and for what purpose? Why don't you look for other ways? Retrain them to go into your economy, and because you need them here. So, but sometimes you find out that they just want people that they can exploit and without protection. And so when they are fed up, or when the people become a bit restive or become headstrong, they bring them and say, time to go, and so on and so forth. So those you have both push and pull factors that contribute to trafficking.
Yes.
And then this, like I said, this sense of vulnerability.
Yeah.
Somebody finishes school, no job for 2 years, 3 years. The next thing is looking for somebody comes with a proposition. You know.
Yeah, it's actually, I mean, when everybody that goes to school expects that after when they graduate, that was what it used to be.
Yes.
After graduation, you get a job, you begin to at least aid and support your family and your parents, get a life for yourself.
Yes.
But it's like, I don't even know what the youths of these days, what their dreams are. Because knowing the fact that even when they go to school, that's why you see that most of them even say, what's even the point going to school? After all, when you go and you graduate, there's nothing out there for you.
Yeah.
There are no jobs. You know, there's nothing. Their parents are not well to do enough to like even start up businesses for them. The banks are not accessible. You can hardly get a little loan for small scale businesses, unlike it used to be. So, but yet, like you have said, it's a choice. It's not enough to allow yourself to fall a victim to this evil that is eating up the human race. Okay, so the next question is the government. How have they intervened so far? Has their intervention kind of reduced human trafficking?
To what extent?
Yes,
Yes.
or has it? Does it keep increasing?
Well, Nigeria has actually done quite a lot to stem trafficking. We signed on to the United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime and the Submitting Protocol to Suppress, Punish, and Trafficking in Persons, child, women, and children in 2000. And then, based on that protocol, Nigeria set up NAPTIP. And NAPTIP has been doing a lot over the years. Incidentally, this month, or last month, July, was the 20th anniversary of NAPTIP, 14th July.
Okay.
So NAPTIP has done quite a lot, done a lot of arrests, almost 20,000 arrests, and prosecuted a lot, and I've had almost 700 convictions.
That's arrested the traffickers. Oh, okay.
And then a lot
What
of...
are their punishments?
There are lots of, 20,000 victims rescued.
Okay.
And about 7,000 trafficking suspects arrested.
Mm.
There are many cases in court. The court system can be on a case for 10 years.
That's a
and all
challenge.
that. So, but to have about almost 700 convictions is something. I think that's commendable for NAPTIP. And then other agencies too, the Nigerian Immigration Service, Police, and NSCDC, civil society, all the government agencies, both at federal and state level, all of them are also collaborating to stem trafficking. So you find out that there's a lot of sensation going on. But what we find out is that if something does not touch you, you may not take notice. We've had there was a time we went out to Benin City. We went with UNODC country rep there, went to schools, went to about 10, 12 schools in 3 days or more. And just about a month later, one of the girls that was in the school that was rescued on her way to Libya.
Oh.
Wow.
So because they always tell people it is not a portion. Forget about what they are telling you. My own is genuine. You will get there. This will not.
Through the back door.
You will get there. Don't worry. Forget about anything. But the truth is that trafficking is horrible. It's insidious. A lot of our girls, if you go to Ghana, go to Benin, go to Togo.
Even African
yes,
countries.
in fact, we have more of our people trafficked to West Africa than even to any other part of the world. Go to Togo, go to
There was some time Mali. Yeah, there was some time there was
Mali,
this video going around about them screaming for rescue.
Yes, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, of course, those who want to go to Libya. Then in Libya, they are trapped. Then you go to Benin. Near Benin here, Ghana, Togo, Senegal, Liberia. They're all there. Nigerians are all over the place. So young girls. We went to Togo, and the child let us go to one of the Nigerian bars in Lomé.
Is there a way the Nigerian government can meet up with the government of this country?
Yes, Nigeria has bilateral agreements. We have a lot of cooperation agreements. Working with, it has also helped. We've had a lot of girls rescued and some actions taken against traffickers across borders. But it's a huge thing because sometimes it becomes what you might call a cultural problem because there's this notion that life is better out there. And I say to people, okay, you are trained in university, you are a chemical engineer, you are a physicist, and you come back home and your village or your town does not have water or does not have power. It takes very little to supply power to your community or supply water to your community if you have been trained in university. And that is why you went to school. We educate people to provide solutions to national problems.
Yes.
And the societal problem. You now go and come and you say, there's nothing I can do. There's no water, there's no light, so I'm going elsewhere. Meanwhile, that's precisely why you. So it is the mentality, this mentality that when we come out, we must have jobs.
Yeah.
So,
No?
yes, you talked about the mentality, which brings it back to the family. It brings it back to, because you said it's huge, it involves, you mentioned the various sectors that are involved in it. So how do we, first of all, I'd like to know if the government has done anything. You talk about those that have been rescued. How do they get inculcated into the society?
Yes.
And then sensitization at the level of the family to make sure that, because you talked about how people are being convinced or deceived. You talk about deception. It plays a major role, even on educated Nigerians, that how they are being convinced, to see it like as if it is greener out there.
Yeah.
So bring it back to the family. What do you think the government should, you can advise both the government, the family, the society to do to enable
reduce.
yes, make sure that people don't fall victim of human trafficking.
Continuous enlightenment, and then like I said, for example, people talk about Edo State, and I say, well, Edo State is not the only trafficking endemic. In fact, all states in Nigeria
Are involved,
endemic.
yes.
But I use, for example, Edo State. I say, if you really want to solve the issue of trafficking, return the industries that were there in the 1970s and 80s in the Edo State.
Right.
They're all
Return
gone.
the industries.
The rubber plantations.
Return the industries.
Yeah, the rubber plantation, the palm oil plantations,
Yeah.
then all those motor industries, all of them are gone.
Breweries. Yeah.
They are gone. Everything is gone.
Return the
So
industries.
if industries are returned and people can go to get work, they don't want to go anywhere.
Exactly.
I remember when I traveled to US in 1992, and somebody said, "Oh, why don't you stay? If you stay," I said, "Me, I have a job. Why would I stay here to be running up and down? I see people work 3 jobs. You leave home 5 o'clock in the morning, come back 11. I don't have that kind of
Exactly.
dump, and then I'll be running up and down from police. Why should I do that? That's because I had a job. If I didn't have anything and I got there,
So they
I don't
will
want to
convince
come
you to
back.
stay,
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
want to come back.
Yes.
So create jobs. Edo, for example, is lucky. You have culture. You have a lot of places that people want to visit for tourism. You have hotels everywhere. And you have these people who are brought back from Europe who can speak colloquial European languages. They may not be able to write it.
Yes.
They can speak
Can
German.
interpret.
So
Yeah.
why don't you create a school where they can actually finish
Teach.
and learn to write and
Yes,
teach and
yes.
then speak,
Yes,
and they
language
can be
is power.
teachers,
Yeah.
they can become tour guides for people who want to now develop the tourism potentials,
Right.
improve the hotels so that before you know people begin to come to that place
Yes.
and people will feel that they are dignified, and then just get people off the streets.
Get people off
Get
the
people off the streets, get young men occupied. People have a lot of energy and they are looking for how do I use it. And that's why in some other countries you find out that most times it is big public works. Big, like, I want to refer like the current president. When he came to Lagos in 1999, at that time it was dangerous to walk on the street of Lagos because of area boys. They will actually put their hand in your pocket and
Exactly.
collect it if you are trying to cut you, this and another.
Yes.
And what did he do? He created LASMA, created LOMA, he created Dream Dogs, and he created Kick Against Indiscipline. So before you know it, people were pulled off the streets, and then they gave the uniform, and they felt dignified. So we can begin to sort of, like, I'm happy with the kind of proposal he's talking about. Let us have forest rangers. let us get 500,000 people, you train them to man our forest. So it will protect our forest and also give them jobs to do.
Right.
Things like that. In an emergency like this, you have to spend your way out of this problem.
Exactly.
You have to spend your way out of this problem, get people employed, let people get
And
jobs.
it has to be deliberate.
It has to be deliberate. So by the time everybody finds something to do, something that is dignified, because nobody wants to beg.
Yes.
You want to eat, you want to put hand in your pocket or bring money and
Independent.
not that you have to be begging. So
Exactly.
get the youth occupied. It's an emergency right now. It's an emergency.
I think I will agree
Yeah.
that it's an emergency.
Yes.
It is. So okay, but having said it, all of this, what's the way forward?
The way forward is
Solution, possible solutions.
Yeah, if you see something, say something. Like we were talking about the victims of trafficking. There are
Yes.
shelters. NAPTIP has shelters all over the country,
Okay.
in all its state and zonal commands.
Yes.
And then of course we have shelters that are run by partners in the CSOs. And so when they come in, initially they are put in NAPTIP shelters
Okay.
because one, for their protection and also for them to come down. You have trained counselors.
How long are they kept in?
Not more than 6 weeks, except in exceptional cases. If, for example, the family environment is not safe and the person feels unsafe to leave the shelter, you can leave the person for a while, but not too long. But sometimes after 6 weeks, if they cannot go back home, it's when they are taken to the shelters run by CSO so that they can maybe go to school, learn a trade, do whatever. Then they
I
are
was
free.
going to ask if they do like they give
Yeah,
you
there's
like
vocational
acquire
training.
skills,
Even
yeah.
in non-tip shelters, they are giving vocational training, informal
Yes,
education,
very important.
and all kinds of things. But you don't keep them in shelter. Actually, the emphasis now is to stop as much as possible, stop institutionalizing people, keep them in, give them. But you know that in our own situation, traffickers are very vicious, and so that's why, for example, you cannot see the address of NAPTIP shelters anywhere.
Okay.
They are not even. There is no signboard to say this is NAPTIP shelter
Right.
because of the need to protect them. No, but after 6 weeks, you have interacted with their families, you find that it's safe to return them, then support them for about 3 years
Very
to start
important.
businesses, to start some, go back to school. And now people have succeeded. There are some people that were rescued when I was head of Lagos Zonal Command in 2005 in NAPTIP. And today one of them is a graduate and working for NAPTIP.
That's good.
And this is a girl that was rescued when she couldn't even speak English at the age of 14. She couldn't speak English. And she dropped out of primary 2 or 3 and has been doing herself for and then she was rescued in a brothel. Today she's a graduate working for NAPTIP. And there are quite a few others like that. A few have graduated again this year. So it's quite a process.
Continuous process.
And also very cash takes a lot of money, which unfortunately NAPTIP does not have. The funding for NAPTIP is still
I
very
was going
poor.
to go get to that. The first
It's still very poor, and NAPTIP needs all the support it can get.
But these are the areas where government needs to put in money.
Yes, but government has a lot of priorities. So many things are.
This is priority.
It's priority.
Yes,
Obviously.
it is. But
Active population
Right,
taken
yes.
to
Absolutely.
Yes, insecurity is there. Everybody they try to blast that. They have to do so. All of us should help. The private sector, our foundations should help because in other countries it is foundations that actually support the fight against trafficking. But in Nigeria, you find that very foundations don't even put money in that. Except they put money in only things that will give them exposure or give them benefits.
Yeah.
But this is something that they need to understand. So we need to keep talking and then keep helping law enforcement to stem trafficking. Because trafficking is what is called organized crime. It's organized crime. It's no longer something you do by error. Those who used to just do individuals to come and traffic, those times have passed.
Right.
So it is now organized.
Yeah.
And those who are doing trafficking now, they are deliberately doing because it's a very, very lucrative
Exactly.
business.
creative business for them.
It's a lucrative. We are looking at a business that brings in about almost $500 billion every year worldwide. So,
Okay. So, in conclusion, sir, would like you to your counsel to the families of these victims and these potential victims.
yes, I will say that I will acknowledge that things are hard in Nigeria. But there are better ways, there are other alternatives. In those days, the value when we had strong family values and people found solutions. They didn't sell themselves to prostitution, for example, in order to make money.
That's why we are here
Yeah.
to
So now-
to create this awareness.
Yes, so please, first of all, let us also mind how many children we bring into the world. Don't bring children you cannot care for.
Oh, God bless
Exactly.
you for that,
If
sir.
you can care for one, do one or two and stop, or three. Don't go and bring 7 children and start saying who is going to take care. Because it's not the government that impregnated your wife for you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So let's
Absolutely.
be mindful of that, and then let's do our best to instill values in our children. And for young people, please, there is treasure in Nigeria if you can think out of the box. You see hundreds of Europeans and Chinese and other coming to Nigeria because there's something here that they are
Absolutely.
seeing which we are not seeing.
Absolutely.
Let us look deep. Let us work together. Let us network and let us see whether the people who have become big in Nigeria, musicians, the people who do fashion and not even caterers and all, people have become rich in Nigeria by tapping into the needs and the gaps they can see in our society. But most times we close our eyes, we don't see those needs by
Right.
looking at the bright lights of Europe. And usually the bright lights of Europe can actually blind us.
True. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Godwin Moka, retired director, research and programs development, NAPTIP. We are so grateful.
Thank you
Thank you so much for
My
your
pleasure.
time. And we hope that when next we call on you,
At
you will
any
be
time.
here.
Thank you very much.
Raymond.
Yeah.
Thank you, Raymond.
Thank you
so
very
much.
Okay, this is where we draw the curtain for today, and we hope that you've been able to pick up something. Parents, you've heard, please counsel and talk to your children, educate them. We are doing the little that we can as a foundation to create this awareness. And for those youths out there, potential victims, don't be a victim. We actually have so much here in Nigeria. Yes, but let's say whatever it is, you are allowed if you want to go out there for greener pastures, but go through it the right way. Don't allow yourself to be deceived or to be dehumanized. We'll see you in our next episode. My name is Elizabeth Samsedi. Bye for now.